Don't skip. Have you ever wondered what true strength really looks like? It's not the loudest voice in the room or the toughest exterior. Real strength is quiet. It's the ability to endure hardship without losing yourself. It's the courage to rise after every fall, to keep going when no one is watching, and to stand firm in the face of life's storms. Some days you might feel like you're barely holding on, just surviving. But even in those moments, you're showing resilience. Strength isn't about being fearless or never struggling. It's about persistence, discipline, and the ability to find balance amidst the chaos. As the Stoics taught, true power comes from within, not from what others can see. In today's video, we'll explore 7 signs of inner strength qualities that define truly strong individuals. These are not grand gestures, but subtle, life-changing skills that shape your character and guide you toward inner peace. If this message resonates with you, share it with someone who needs a reminder of their own quiet power. And now, let's 1. Emotional control. Begin 1. Emotional control. Picture this: you've spent weeks preparing for an important project. Everything seems to be on track, and then unexpectedly, something goes wrong, or perhaps someone you trust criticizes you unfairly. How would you react? Most people let emotions take over: frustration, anger, maybe even despair. It's natural, isn't it? But acting in the heat of the moment often leads to regret. Let me tell you about a former boss of mine, a man who embodied emotional control. I watched him navigate moments of intense pressure with an unshakable calm. When a major project collapsed unexpectedly, chaos took over. Some blamed circumstances. Others blamed each other, but he remained composed. He didn't deny the difficulty of the situation. He simply refused to be ruled by it. Instead of reacting, he asked questions, sought solutions, and guided the team with clarity. He still felt the stress, but he didn't let it dictate his action. This is true strength, not the absence of emotion, but mastery over it. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind. Not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Emotional control is the ability to focus on what you can change while letting go of what you can't. It is the calm within the storm, the clarity that turns chaos into wisdom. Think about it. How many times have you spoken in anger and later wished you could take it back? How many choices made in frustration only made things worse? Emotions are powerful, but when unchecked, they lead us astray. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca once wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." True, freedom comes from guiding your emotions with reason, not being enslaved by them. Mastering emotional control doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means training yourself to respond rather than react when frustration rises. Pause, take a breath, give yourself space to think. That brief moment of restraint is powerful. It shifts control back into your hands. Then ask yourself a simple but profound question: is this within my control? If the answer is no, let it go. If yes, focus on solutions rather than feeding the emotion. Reflection is another key at the end of each day. Take a moment to examine your emotional responses. What triggered them? How could you have handled them better? This simple practice builds awareness and resilience over time. Perspective is equally important when faced with a challenge. Ask yourself, will this matter a year from now? Most of what feels overwhelming in the moment will fade into insignificance. With time, shifting your perspective reduces the emotional weight of temporary setbacks. Emotional control is not about becoming cold or indifferent. It's about understanding your emotions, choosing your response, and staying steady in the face of uncertainty. It's a discipline, a lifelong practice, one that turns life's difficulties into opportunities for growth. True strength isn't about never feeling anger, frustration, or fear. It's about mastering these emotions rather than being mastered by them. Taking two. Taking responsibility. Responsibility, true strength reveals itself in the moments when you take full responsibility for your actions. Imagine this. You've promised a colleague that you'll complete part of a report by the weekend, but as the days slip by, caught up in other pressing tasks, you miss the deadline. What do? Many people, when faced with failure, instinctively look for an excuse, blaming a heavy workload, unexpected circumstances, or even someone else. It's a natural defense, but it's also a trap. The truly strong person does something different. They acknowledge their mistake without hesitation, own it completely, and make it right. At first glance, this may seem like a small act, but in reality, it speaks volumes about one's character. Responsibility isn't about being perfect or never making mistakes. It's about how you respond when you do. Seneca wisely noted, every new beginning comes from some other. Some other beginnings end mistakes. Mark the end of one attempt, and the start of learning what defines you is whether you choose to grow from them or hide behind excuses. Owning your failures requires courage. Admitting when you're wrong isn't easy, especially in a world that often rewards appearances over integrity. But perfection is an illusion. We all stumble. True strength comes from facing those flaws with honesty and making amends rather than running from them. I once worked with a leader who embodied this principle. She was managing a major project when an oversight on her part caused a significant delay. She could have blamed the team. She could have pointed to circumstances beyond her control. Instead, she stood before us, acknowledged her mistake, and presented a plan to fix it. That moment didn't make her look weak. It made her respected, because in taking responsibility, she rated integrity, accountability, and leadership. When you take responsibility, you reclaim power over your life. You are no longer at the mercy of external events. You become the author of your own story. Each mistake becomes a lesson, a stepping stone to wisdom. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus taught it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it. That matter's strength lies in choosing to act, rather than be acted upon, in shaping your future, with deliberate intention, rather than drifting with the tides of circumstance. So how can we practice responsibility in daily life? Start small. If you forget to return a friend's call, don't justify it. Apologize sincerely and make amends when faced with criticism. Resist the impulse to defend yourself immediately. Instead, pause. Is there truth in what's being said? If so, embrace it, learn from it, and act on it. And remember, responsibility isn't just about admitting mistakes. It's also about owning your successes when your actions lead to something good. Acknowledge that too. The balance between humility and confidence keeps you grounded, free from both self-doubt and arrogance. Life will give you endless opportunities to choose between blame and accountability. The easier path is to shift responsibility elsewhere. The stronger path, the Stoic path, is to accept reality, no matter how uncomfortable, and use it as a catalyst for growth. Taking responsibility doesn't just make you a better colleague, friend, or partner. It makes you a better version of yourself. It builds resilience, fosters trust, and creates a life of integrity and purpose. In a world that often avoids accountability, those who embrace it shine. Word by word, action by action. Responsibility is the foundation upon which greatness is built. And it is through this foundation that you stand tall, no matter what life throws your music. Way 3, Fay 3. Facing fear. Fear is a shadow that follows us all. It whispers doubts, magnifies worst-case scenarios, and urges us to retreat. Yet the strongest among us do not run from fear. They turn toward it, meet its gaze, and walk through it. They see fear not as an enemy, but as a teacher, a doorway to growth and transformation. Imagine this: you're given an opportunity to speak in front of a crowd. Your mind races. What if I embarrass myself? What if I forget my words? Fear grips you, tempting you to decline, but instead you take a deep breath and accept. In that moment, you've made a choice, not for comfort, but for growth. You've decided that the possibility of failure is worth the opportunity to stretch beyond your current limits. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, once said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Fear is not in the event itself, but in our perception of it. We suffer not because of reality, but because of the stories we tell ourselves about what might happen. Think about this: you have an exam, an interview, or a difficult conversation ahead. Fear tries to stop you by playing every possible failure on repeat. But a strong person recognizes this voice for what it is: an illusion. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to act in spite of it, even in small moments. Fear tries to control us. You hesitate to share your opinion in a meeting, fearing judgment, but you speak up anyway. You want to try a new hobby, but fear tells you you'll fail. You do it anyway. These are victories, however small. Each time you step forward, despite fear, you build strength. The Stoics believed in preparing for challenges before they arrived. Seneca advised we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Anticipate difficulties, but do not let them paralyze you. Instead, see them as training grounds for resilience. So, how do we confront fear? Start small when anxiety grips you. Slow your breath, calm the storm within before facing the world outside. Break daunting tasks into manageable steps. What once seemed impossible suddenly becomes achievable. Remind yourself that discomfort is temporary, but growth is permanent. Facing fear.